Welcome to this week's Security Report. I'm Paul McAdam. Thanks for joining us. Police have located the car that struck down and killed 17-year-old Quan Trotz at farm on the east bank of Essequibo on February 22. They are making efforts to locate the suspected 21-year-old driver, Balram Nelly. He hails from St. Lawrence in the east bank of Essequibo, and investigators were told that he sustained injuries during that accident. The vehicle damaged on the left side was found around 1750 hours on February 23 in a container at the Silver Beach on the east bank of Essequibo. Ranks were tipped off to the presence of the vehicle by canoe colleagues who were carrying out an exercise in the area. According to investigators, debris at the scene appeared to match the same vehicle. The Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit has issued a wanted bulletin for Ryan Pemberton, known as Sancho. He's a businessman from Alberton in Georgetown who reportedly threatened to kill canoe ranks after they intercepted a fiberglass vessel at the Parika Back Dam on the east bank of Essequibo on Saturday night. Two men were found aboard the vessel and they were arrested. They were identified as Lachman Sankar, known as Jack, and Munishwar Dasraj. They were remanded on February 26 to prison until March 13. The duo reportedly had 27.866 kilograms of cocaine in their possession. According to Kano, the darkly painted Go Fast boat was intercepted with the 25 parcels of cocaine lodged in its bow. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Pemberton or Sancho is asked to make contact with the unit on 226-0431. And a head-on collision between a car PMM 2260 and motorcycle CJ 4350 on the Adventure Public Road on the Essequibo coast on February 24 resulted in the death of Adventure resident 35-year-old Suresh Arjun. The driver, whose blood alcohol level was reportedly exceedingly above the legal limit, was negotiating a left bend when the motorcycle, proceeding in the opposite direction, collided with the side of the car. The driver of the car alleged that Arjun was speeding and his motorcycle was not lit at the time when the accident occurred around 2050 hours. Arjun said that Arjun fell off his motorcycle and sustained severe injuries to his head and body. He was taken to the Suddy Public Hospital in an unconscious state but pronounced dead on arrival. And ranks are investigating the murder of 26-year-old minor Joseph Calistro of Port Kaitumo in the Northwest District, who stabbed to death with a pair of scissors on February 24. The suspect, a 25-year-old minor who has since been detained, said that he and Calistro were imbibing at the shop when a fight ensued. It is alleged that the suspect walked away but was pursued and assaulted by the victim, who was armed with a pair of scissors. The suspect disarmed Calistro and wounded him with the same scissors. Calistro received medical attention at the Arakaka Health Center at around 1 hour on Monday and was sent away. Police said he returned to the facility a few hours later with a breathing problem and was getting oxygen when he succumbed. 22-year-old Kimo Tyrone Evans was sentenced to serve 29 years imprisonment by Justice Sandil Kusun for the April 2015 murder of city businessman, the proprietor of Hampson's General Store, Abdul Farouk Ghani. Evans was found guilty by a 12-member jury of the capital offense, which stated that between April 15 and 16, 2015, at Nandi Park on the east bank of the Marara, he murdered Ghani, also known as Brother, during the course of a robbery. Also sentenced for the same murder was Floyd Ramat, who confessed to the crime. Ramat is currently serving a 30-year sentence. A 48-year-old resident of Lot 177 Maibituri Blackbush Pola, accused of killing his wife Lilawati Balak, also known as Darling, between September 6, 2016 and March 31, 2017 of the above address, appeared before Justice Simone Morris Ramlal on Tuesday in the Berbice High Court. He was charged with murder but pled not guilty. Instead, he opted to plead guilty to the lesser count of manslaughter. He was sentenced to 21 years in jail. The woman was last seen on Saturday, August 27, 2016. Lilawati Balak's plight had come to light after one of her daughters became increasingly suspicious after she disappeared. She contacted the police. Sunil Dat Ralak was arrested, and after being interrogated, he confessed to committing that crime. He told investigators that he had an argument with his wife, who wanted to return to the U.S., and it then escalated into a physical fight. During that fight, he choked her until she died. He then buried her corpse in a shallow grave near to vegetable plants in his backyard. Investigators were led by Balak to the spot where bones and a skull believed to be that of Lilawati were found. The GRA has detained one of 6 suspects following the discovery of a large quantity of chicken and alcohol in a truck on the east coast of Demerara. According to the GRA, on Tuesday, officers from its Law Enforcement and Investigation Division detained the vehicle containing the suspected smuggled item during an early morning operation on Thursday last at Dazzle Housing Scheme. The tax collection agency said that whilst 6 persons were spotted, 5 managed to escape. The detained individual, a businessman, was previously apprehended in a similar operation at Maikoni on the east coast of Demerara, where unaccustomed goods were also seized. The same detained individual, along with another East Coast businessman, had filed an $8 million lawsuit against the GRA in July 2019 for wrongful arrest and detainment on accusations of smuggling raw chicken into the country for sale to the Guyana Defense Force. Meanwhile, the GRA said on Tuesday that during the course of the operations last week, the LEID officers were also able to positively identify 2 other known smugglers among the 5 escapees, both of whom were previously apprehended by the GRA for knowingly dealing with unaccustomed goods and currently facing charges before the courts. Now, the Guyana Revenue Authority is encouraging members of the public to be forthcoming with information about persons or businesses involved or abetting in these illegal activities. Information can be reported to the LEID hotline on 227-6060 extension 3204 to 12. As the Guyana Elections Commission concludes its final preparations for the general elections, the streets surrounding the head office in Kingston, Georgetown have been closed. According to a statement from the Guyana Police Force, High Street between Cowan and Barrack Street and Cowan Street between High and 4th Streets have been closed to vehicular traffic from 6 hours on February 26 until further notice. According to the police, vehicular passes will be issued by GCOM to residents, employees and organizations likely to be affected by that closure. The force apologizes for any inconvenience caused. Now for some highlights from the Guyana Defense Force. Several schools visited Base Camp Guyana on Wednesday, February 19. They included 95 students from the 3 aforementioned schools. They toured the military museum and gained insights into various aspects of the Guyana Defense Force. Those schools included the Kilton Primary School from the Quarantine, the Waterloo Nursery School from West Coast Berbice, and the Western Primary School from Maikoni. Of course, these pupils were accompanied by their teachers and parents. And members of the disciplined services on February 21 cast their ballot for the upcoming regional and general elections on March 2. Commander-in-Chief President David Granger visited Base Camp Guyana and the Police Officers Club Ivlery, where voting was taking place.
The process is smooth. It is proceeding without interruption, and I'm very happy and very satisfied with the turnout. And I think the people of Guyana could be assured that the disciplined forces are performing their civic duty, and they're not being obstructed by the administration in any way. And the administration of the Election Commission seems to be functioning efficiently.
The President said that come March 2, he expects a similar process as it relates to the smoothness of the voting process.
I expect that on the 2nd of March, the national process will be equally satisfactorily executed by the Elections Commission, which has responsibility for that function.
Brigadier Patrick West was the first to cast his vote at Base Camp Guyana. Some 3,000 ranks cast their ballot with a projected 85% turnout. Those who did not do so will vote on March 2.
Anybody can appeal to any citizen. At the end of the day, we're all citizens of Guyana, and we will all have those choices to make now and in the future. And I don't see anything wrong with political leaders sharing from their own platforms, their own intentions about what they will do for Guyana.
Police Commissioner Leslie James also cast his ballot and expressed satisfaction with the smoothness and easy flow of the voting process. Conducted by Dr. Rishi Thakur, the Commission of Inquiry's report into the killing of several Guyanese off the shores of Suriname by pirates was handed over recently.
It was determined on the basis of extended findings that the piracy was organized, planned, systemic, and executed open confrontation that has origins in a turf war over fishing grounds. We were able to establish that in no uncertain terms.
Dr. Thakur said that whilst 350 cabin cruisers or fishing vessels in the Quarantine were operational, there is not one singly registered crew or trained or licensed captain. Among his recommendations are that training be implemented along with the licensing of captains and fishing crews. A vessel monitoring system should be set up in accordance with the Fisheries Act, and the Interagency Piracy Task Force be transformed into a permanent statutory body. Minister of State Don Hastings-Williams.
I know that many of us have waited anxiously for this day, and I am glad that we are finally concluding this exercise so that we can move forward, address the important issues and tasks that are required, bring an end to this scourge that has plagued mainly regions number 6, and bring closure to a very tragic incident.
A copy of the report was also handed over to Vice President and the Public Security Minister, Kemraj Ramchitan. The Commander-in-Chief, President David Granger, expressed his heartfelt sympathy to the wife of 21331 Corporal Sean Rose, Tamika Rose, other relatives, friends, and the entire GDF fraternity. Recently, the GDF rank died on February 23 after being badly injured during a fireworks explosion the day before. Corporal Rose and several ranks were offloading the fireworks and preparing for the subsequently cancelled 50th Republic Anniversary fireworks display when they combusted spontaneously at approximately 13:30 hours at the Coast Guard's Rambelt base. The President thanked the Georgetown Public Hospital staff for their tireless efforts to save the corporal's life and for their continued treatment of the other injured ranks. 6 of the 7 GDF 21 Artillery Battalion Company ranks were discharged from the Burns unit at the GPHC. Terrence Nils remains warded, but Cornet Gordon, Isaiah Gordon, Trevon Joseph, Victor Lowe, Atto Court, and Delroy Beard are out of intensive care. The Guyana Fire Service and the GDF are assisting in a board of inquiry which has been set up to determine that explosion's cause. And on this week's wanted list, the Guyana Police Force has issued a wanted bulletin for 33-year-old Marisa Ahmad, also known as Marisa Ali, in connection with simple larceny committed on Stanislaus McCoy. Police headquarters said that a woman of Annandale, East Coast, Demerara, committed the simple larceny offense on February 4, 2020 at the Ocean Spray Hotel, Stanley Place, Kitty, Georgetown. Also wanted is 18-year-old Stephen Archibald in connection with the murder of 23-year-old Kyle Chase, who was stabbed to death on December 30, 2019 at Mazaroni Street in Guyhawk Park. The police headquarters said that Archibald's last known address is Lot 136, Victoria Street, All Boys Town, Georgetown. Anyone with information that may lead to the arrest of either of the two is asked to contact the police on telephone numbers 226-6978, 225-8196, 226-2870, 226-7065, 911, or their nearest police station. Remember, all reports will be treated with the strictest confidence. And that's it for this week's Security Report. Goodbye.